speaking. The voice announced on the public address system within the Pan American jet. We will be landing in Bien Hoa, South Vietnam in about 40 minutes. They are reporting sunny skies, temperature of 97 degrees, and 100% humidity. The waiting buses were identical to those used during training on the American bases. There were no glass windows. Instead, bars and chicken wire covered each framed opening. Why is all this shit covering the windows instead of having glass? It's there to protect the passengers from grenades or any other foreign objects that might be thrown in from the side of the road. It gives me the feeling of being a criminal on the way to prison. We all are in prison, my man. Think about it. We're all locked up in this country for the next year, and there's nothing we can do about it but serve our time. Hell, I thought there's a war going on here. Why are we going to sit around in classrooms? You heard the guy. He said that we're going to learn all about the enemy. Well, what more do we have to learn? Little guy out there has a gun and wants to kill me. I have to kill him first. It's that simple. We don't need to learn anything more. John dove into a clump of bushes behind an old tree trunk to face the oncoming threat. In his haste, he jammed the barrel of his M16 into the soft earth and found it tightly lodged under gnarled, protruding roots. As he struggled to free the weapon, bullets began flying in his direction, narrowly missing him and ricocheting from the tree trunk. His sense of vulnerability was overwhelming. The monsoon season was beginning in the southern half of Vietnam. It was hot and sunny most of the day, started raining by 7 every evening, and continued nonstop until 8 the next morning. There was no protection from the weather in the bush, and no way of keeping dry during the night. Sleeping soaked to the bone every night soon became a way of life. This VC weather. Rain will cover all noise of moving and wash out all signs on trails. VC stay one place during day and move nighttime. He know American soldiers not like be wet. They all covered with ponchos at night and no hear see him. GI also complained loud about wetness, and VC hear this. This buku danger time for GIs. When the 4 men were within the killing zone, Six-Pack fired his M16, the signal for the rest of the squad to open fire. The sound of the ambush was loud enough to reach the fire base, making those soldiers stop working and look anxiously in that direction. The execution was perfect and took away any chance of their escape. All 4 enemy soldiers died immediately, their bodies contorted into unthinkable positions. Look, sir, I do fully understand that you're in charge, but right now you're just a hard-headed asshole that happens to be an officer. I've seen shit like this repeatedly during my 11 months here, and have learned much more about our enemy than you did in ROTC. People survive by instincts and hunches here in the Nam. I've only got a couple of weeks left in this hellhole, and I plan to take every necessary precaution to make certain I stay alive, along with everybody else on this hilltop. I will not tolerate some college-educated ROTC graduate thinking he knows better. John was on point and beginning to feel uneasy. There was a hint of death in the air, and it became more pronounced as they advanced. His mind raced, trying to make sense of it all. He felt a slight tug across his right shin and immediately froze in place. His breathing stopped as he realized what had just happened. A microsecond later, the disengaged tripwire allowed the circuit to complete and sent an electrical charge to the mechanical ambush. When he heard a popping sound, he braced himself for what may have been his last second alive. Many of the soldiers began preparing for the upcoming mission, even though they had 1 more day remaining of their R&R. When Alpha Company drew out supplies for the mission, each man requested additional field dressings for potential wounds and plenty of extra ammunition. One by one, they visited the firing range and test-fired their weapons to ensure they were in proper working order. The men readied themselves mentally and physically for the big fight that they knew was coming. John knew all too well how they felt. He felt the same way before heading into the Iron Triangle. He did not have first-hand knowledge regarding the valley, but had a deep respect for the opinions of those who had been there.